Okay, hello everyone, my name is Eddie and welcome to my empire, aka my first ever video where I'm actually talking. I wanted to do this as a 600 subscriber special for you guys, so first off, thank you so much for this milestone. I really never thought I would get this far, to be honest. And second, because I wanted to try to start getting into potentially making videos like these every so often, where I talk about like weapons and the game in general, offering my opinions and feelings on things. So today I'm going to be talking about the Hydra Splatling. I'm going to be doing like a Hydra Kit analysis. I'm going to talk about the best kit option I think there is for each mode, and at the end I'll reveal which Hydra kit I think is better. So let's start with how the Hydra plays. Well, it's a backline that takes the longest to charge up out of any other Splatling. I would say its strongest modes are zones and tower control because they require you to be less mobile. The Hydra is a very slow moving weapon, so you'll always need to have a lot of run speed equipped to make moving around easier. It's also a support weapon, so your main role as a Hydra is to support by utilizing your range to cover your team, staying alive, and giving jumps. While it can be impressive when a slow weapon like the Hydra goes guns blazing and plays like a mini, it's definitely not advised if you're just picking up the weapon. The Hydra playstyle can be kind of boring sometimes, especially if your frontliners are like really good, since you won't be seeing much action in that case, but it's also a nice and cozy role as well, and having the rapid fire of the main weapon can make it a little easier to use than the chargers in my opinion. Speaking of chargers, watch out for those. A good charger player can really invalidate you, so try to be careful around that. Okay, so that's a little overview on how the Hydra plays, so now we're going to start getting into the kit analysis, starting with the vanilla Hydra. So the vanilla Hydra's kit is Auto Bomb and Booyah Bomb. Auto Bomb is a really good sub because it tracks enemies and it's just a bomb. Bombs in Splatoon are just seen as really good for that reason. Honestly, they work well in any mode, and they're always just a good option to use. It only takes up 55% of the ink too, which is pretty good. So there's not much else to say on that. Next is Booyah Bomb. So that's a pretty well-rounded special that isn't bad or overly, overpowered. I'd say it's a pretty well-liked special, unless you encounter a lot of Aerospray G-mains online, I guess, which, if you do, sorry. But, it's actually a pretty good pick for the Hydra Splatling, I think. I'm really happy that it got Booyah Bomb in this game. That's the vanilla Hydra. And now we move on to the infamous custom Hydra kit. Yes, the kit that Hydra mains waited nearly 2 years for, along with range and bamboo. Honestly, I feel like all the weapons that were in the game since launch should have gotten their second kits like way earlier than this, but I guess what do I know. Anyway, let's get into the kit. So, Ink Mine is actually a very good sub weapon for the Hydra. It's pretty basic, but it's honestly so useful and a lot better on this weapon than I thought it would be. I've always liked Mine since I've used it on the E-liter, but it feels just as good to use on the Hydra. I know that the Hydra had Mine in Splatoon 2, but at that time I still really wasn't like playing the Hydra yet, so I didn't really use it as much. I didn't know that Mine could be this good. So the Mine for Radius can deal 35 to 45 damage, and it tracks foes so that all your teammates can see them, which is something that Auto Bomb doesn't do. It's great for setting up around you to keep any sneaky frontliners in check and scare them away due to being tracked. And it does cost 60% of your ink tank, which is a little unfortunate, but it's nothing that can't be solved with some ink saver sub. And now let's talk about the custom Hydra's special, which is Splatter Color Screen. Now, I will admit, when I found out that the Hydra was getting screen, I was pretty upset. It was even to the point where I didn't even think I wanted to play or 5-star the custom Hydra, just because I didn't think that screen was a good special. I really just thought it wasn't what the Hydra needed. No one likes screen. And this might be a little shocking, honestly, given everything I've just said, but after using the weapon and actually having screen for like about a month, I actually don't mind it. I know that's pretty like controversial or whatever, but after using it, I honestly don't think it's that bad. I'd say it's pretty good at creating chokeholds, simply because people just don't want to pass through the screen. Like, players are afraid of like touching it. I'm serious. It will players will actively move back and stop their pushes if there's a screen in their way. Like, I can't make this up. It's seriously like baffling how much like domination sometimes screen can have in a match. So I really don't mind that the custom Hydra has it, and I actually think it's a pretty decent special for the Hydra, since it's a backline that can utilize the screen to give itself some cover, as well as, you know, cover teammates as well. So now that I've analyzed the kits, I'm going to go over which Hydra I think is best for each mode. Not Turf War though, because I really don't play Turf War. So starting with zones. For zones, I definitely say that the vanilla Hydra is the better option. While mine is great, for zones, the only thing you can really do with mine is like lay them in the zone, which I feel like having to stop what you're doing to go lay mines in the zone just kind of puts you in a bad position. Or I guess you could lay them at your camping spot, since, you know, in zones with a Hydra you usually have a good camping spot with high ground. Whereas with Autobomb, I feel like it's just a safer option in my opinion, and it works better from afar, which, you know, Hydra positioning in zones usually is from afar, which I feel like makes it easier to use. For the specials, I would say screen is pretty bad in zones. Other than having like a niche on certain maps to create like chokeholds, there isn't much else screen can do. When it's thrown at the zone, it doesn't really like paint much or do anything, whereas Booyah Bomb at least does paint, and while it can be painted over kind of quickly, it's just a better option to pop when you finish your round of shots, so then you can start farming another one. So that's zones, and now I'll move on to tower control. So for tower, I'd say that the custom kit is better. Laying mines on the tower, to me, it's just a better option than throwing auto bombs on the tower. Unfortunately, on this mode, I feel like they're pretty inconsistent, because when you try to throw them on the tower, they'll usually just end up either falling off or like walking off the tower because of, you know, chasing a target. And for that reason, I'd say auto bomb is just not that good, and mine is just a safer option to just always lay on the tower. Moving on to the specials, Booyah Bomb actually is a really good special for ending tower control games, since it's really easy to use and it forces enemies to just get off the tower. However, I'd say screen actually has a similar effect. Throwing the screen at the tower forces enemy players to either brave it and go through the screen, or jump off the tower and end their push, which will end the game. Either of which honestly really puts them in a bad spot. So I'd say, you know, Booyah Bomb is basically an immediate end to a game, while screen is more of a slow burn. So I guess in this case it really comes down to the sub, which I do think the mine is better than auto bomb on it. And I'm actually gonna do Rainmaker and Clam Blitz kind of together, just because they kind of play similarly for the Hydra, and they're both really fast paced. So for both of these modes, I would say that the custom kit is probably better for them. Mines are really good for setting up on paths that enemies need to take in order to score the Rainmaker or score super clams, so they can be really useful for catching sneaky players, specifically in clams, like trying to take alternate routes. Autobomb is decent and definitely works well, but I feel like mine just feels better to use since it's like a trap. And I think these two modes are really the only ones where Booyah Bomb doesn't really shine as much. It almost feels kind of annoying to have to use Booyah Bomb in these modes because of the fact that you have to stop what you're doing to use it, and since there isn't a clear objective to throw it at all the time like tower and zones, it kind of makes it a little harder to use, whereas screen comes out immediately and creates, like, you know, chokeholds and barriers on players carrying the Rainmaker or carrying super clams, and it deters them from taking routes where the screen is put, which honestly I think is better than Booyah Bomb since it lasts longer. So that's my analysis for the modes in which Hydra Kit is better. So now I'm going to reveal which Hydra Kit that I prefer better. So mental drum roll, please. I'm going to go with the custom Hydra. I know that might be unexpected since many people hate screen, and the V Hydra kit is conventionally better, but honestly I really like the Hydra with mines and really don't mind screen as much as I did before. As previously discussed, I also think that the custom kit is better in 3 out of the 4 modes anyway, and it's just my opinion. So Let me know what you guys think of that in the comments. With all that being said, I am going to wrap up my 600 special video. Thank you guys so much again for 600 subscribers. I really hope you enjoyed. This video was pretty fun to make. Let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see like this in the future for maybe other milestones. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.